There comes a moment when you realize something quietly unsettling. The loudest people in the room are rarely the strongest. They interrupt. They dominate conversations. They speak over others to feel superior, and most people respond the same way. They argue, they explain, they try to win. But every word you throw back only feeds their arrogance. Stoicism teaches a different form of power, a quieter one. A kind that doesn't rise to provocation, doesn't chase validation, and doesn't need to prove anything, because arrogance survives on reaction. Attention, emotional engagement, take those away, and it collapses on its own. In this video, you'll learn 5 Stoic ways to disarm arrogant people without arguing, without explaining, and without lowering yourself. Not by overpowering them, but by mastering yourself. 1. Stillness under provocation. Arrogant people are predictable. They provoke to test you. They interrupt to assert dominance. They raise their voice to pull you into their frame. Most people react automatically. They tense up. They speed up their speech. They feel the urge to respond immediately. That reaction is the opening arrogance waits for. A Stoic does the opposite. He slows down. When provoked, he does not rush to reply. He does not change his tone. He does not mirror aggression with aggression. He remains physically still, breathing steady, posture relaxed, eyes calm. This stillness is not weakness, it is control. Arrogant people rely on emotional friction. When they don't get it, something breaks. They begin to overextend. They talk more. They reveal insecurity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved." When you stay unmoved, you deny them the reaction they need to feel superior. And without reaction, their arrogance has nothing to stand on. 2. Say less than expected. Arrogant people talk to dominate. They use words to corner you, to force a reaction, to feel important. Most people fall into the trap. They explain too much. They defend themselves. They try to sound reasonable. But every extra sentence gives arrogance more room to operate. A Stoic understands this. He speaks with restraint. He answers, but only what is necessary. No elaboration, no justification, no emotional padding. Short responses change the balance of power. Because explanations are invitations. They invite debate, they invite interruption, they invite disrespect. When you say less than expected, you deny arrogant people the leverage they seek. They pause, they hesitate, they don't know where to push next. Seneca warned, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." The same is true of words. The fewer you use, the more weight each one carries. And in that silence between sentences, authority begins to form. 3. Withdraw. Attention, not emotion. Arrogant people don't need your anger. They don't even need your agreement. They need your attention, your eye contact, your reactions, your effort to be understood. That attention is the fuel. Most people think power comes from standing their ground, from pushing back, from proving a point. Stoicism teaches something quieter. You don't withdraw emotionally. You withdraw attention. You stay calm. You stay present. But you stop feeding the interaction. No leaning forward. No eager responses. No attempt to correct their tone or intelligence. Because attention is currency. And whoever gives more of it loses leverage. When you stop investing attention, arrogant people feel it immediately. They repeat themselves. They escalate. They search for a reaction that never comes. And that absence does something powerful. It exposes the imbalance. They wanted an audience. They wanted engagement. They wanted to feel superior. Instead, they get neutrality. And neutrality is unbearable to arrogance. 4. Let your presence do the work. Arrogant people rely on noise, words, gestures, overstatement. They believe authority comes from being seen and heard. A Stoic knows better. True authority is felt before it is explained. It's in how you enter a room, how you stand, how you listen without rushing to speak. You don't lean in to impress. You don't fill silence to ease tension. You don't perform. You remain grounded. Calm posture, steady movements, unhurried responses. This unsettles arrogant people, because presence without eagerness signals independence, and independence threatens those who need validation. They begin to talk more, to exaggerate, to push, and the contrast becomes obvious. You don't challenge them directly. You don't correct them publicly. Your presence does it for you. As Epictetus taught, don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. When you embody calm authority, words become unnecessary. And arrogance, when faced with quiet certainty, starts to shrink. 5. Walk away without signaling victory. Most people leave arguments loudly. They make sure the other person knows they won. A final remark, a sharp look, a closing statement. A Stoic does none of that, because the goal is not to dominate, it is to disengage. Arrogant people crave two things, reaction and resolution. They want conflict or closure, preferably both. So the most effective move is simple. You leave calmly, no final words, no visible frustration, no moral high ground, just a quiet exit. This denies them the ending they want. No victory to claim, no defeat to twist, no story to tell. To arrogance, this is disarming, because without opposition, there is no stage. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Walking away this way is not avoidance, it is mastery. You keep your composure, you keep your dignity, you keep your energy, and arrogance is left talking to itself. Arrogance doesn't need to be confronted. It needs to be deprived. When you stop reacting, stop explaining, and stop feeding unnecessary conflict, something shifts. You don't become colder, you become clearer. Stoicism is not about silencing others. It's about mastering yourself. Control your reactions. Guard your attention. Choose distance over dominance. Because real strength is quiet. It doesn't argue. It doesn't announce itself. And when you carry yourself with calm authority, arrogant people lose their grip on you. That is Stoic power.